I would like to welcome you for the Python programming course. My name is Gaurav and I am your trainer for Python programming class. Now, I want to first of all tell you all the best. Okay. And I want to wish you good luck because it's like 8 in the morning and you have woken up and you are ready to build your career into the future. So I hope that your future will be bright ahead and it will be successful ahead in the near future, because what you have done over here is shown a proof that you are ready to work hard, and those people who are ready to work hard, nothing is impossible for them. Now, today we are starting with our Python programming course, and here we are going to do something introduction into the Python. So today will be the first formal class into the Python. Let's move ahead. Now, Python is what? Okay, or what is Python? Now, here Python is nothing but a general purpose high level programming language. Now, what do I mean by a general purpose high level programming language? Generally, whenever we are going to do any kind of software development, we want to have a programming language where we can do complex stuff, where we can do applied mathematics stuff, where we can implement a database into it, where we can make it a structured programming with making of modules and segregation of features and functionalities, and all these things are based with Python. Now here, whenever we are talking about programming languages, there are three kinds of programming languages. The first is the machine level language or machine level program. The machine level program is in binaries, that is zeros and ones. The machine level program will be understood by the computer. Now any computer is there that will always understand the machine level program. Why? Because the computer is an electronic device. It is created out of like registers and transistors, especially the RAM of the computer where the processing takes place. And what happens over there, for entire processing they only work in zeros and ones, means by in binaries. So that's how a transistors works, that's how the registers works. That's where, okay, that is machine level language. The second kind of language is assembly level language, where it works into the mnemonics, like they will have some special names. And there is third, which is an English like programming language, which is a high level programming language. Now high level programming languages are structured languages. You can create modules into it, you can create features into it, you can segregate functionalities into the modules and features, and you can create a software out of it. You can add a database into it, you can even add all of them into a cloud features into it. So all these things are possible with your high level programming language. Now, Python was actually developed by a guy in Netherlands. His name was Guido van Brassem. Now, he was working for National Research Institute, okay, which is located at Netherlands, and it was developed somewhere around 1989. But the first version of Python was released to the public in 1991, and the official date when the Python was released for the public use was February 20th, 1991. Now, this guy Guido van Razum was actually working into a project, and he wanted some automations to be done, which could happen very fast. Now, generally, what used to happen, programming earlier, he was like a Java developer. He was not a Java developer. Okay, he was working into C++ or C programming languages, which were like very slow, and they were not executing the things much faster. So he wanted something which could execute the work on a much faster basis. So that's why they developed Python over there. Now, that was his own basic pet project. Now, when he started automations and people saw that he's doing his work much faster, people were interested what he has actually done. And then he revealed Python into them. And then Python came into picture on basically like in 1989 when people actually got to know about it. And in 1991 it was used for the like it was released for the public use, like everybody can be used. Now Python is the first recommended language for the beginners in programming. Now many of you who have first like you are the beginners into the programming, you have newly started to do the programs, and you don't know whether you will be able to succeed into this or not. But I will tell you, this is one of the easiest programming languages. Basically, why people got so much interested into Python? Because there were a lot of people who were from non-technical background, means those people who were like masters in physics, okay, those who had done their PhD into physics or mathematics or into chemistry or into like let's say okay some scientific works and all, so they don't know how to do programming, okay, and they wanted to use some stuffs or they wanted to implement some kind of data science or artificial intelligence using okay the programmings. Now what happened over there, okay, if you want to learn Java okay fully, like you want to learn like core Java, you want to learn the new features of the Java, you want to learn like the advanced features of the Java, JDBC, J2EE and all those things, it might take 1 year for properly learning it, but nobody has 1 year to learn all those things. And here what I will tell you, if you want to do all the stuffs into Python, learning Python is very easy. If you give like 15-20 days of the stuffs like properly studying, okay, you can easily learn Python and anybody can easily learn and work with Python. Next, the question arises where I can use Python. Okay, means how I can implement Python or in which kind of projects we can use Python. Now, Python can be used for creating desktop applications. Now, what is the desktop applications? You might be using some desktop applications like your VLC media player. You might be using some desktop applications like your Microsoft Office or like your Adobe Acrobat Reader or like your like many other things. Like suppose right now I am using your Microsoft PowerPoint. Now these applications or softwares are installed directly into my system. These are installed into the local system. Now the softwares or the applications which are installed into your local systems, you don't require internet to use it. You don't require any other networks to use it. Now such kind of applications are called as desktop applications. And if you want to create desktop based applications, you can do it with Python. Second is a web based application. Now any application which requires a browser means like your Chrome browser, Firefox browser, Internet Explorer browser, Opera Mini browser, Safari browser, or any other kind of browser. Second thing, it requires an internet. Okay, any application which requires two things, a browser and an internet to access it, is called as a web-based application. Okay, now understand this. When you are using applications like facebook.com, google.com, then your like amazon.com, flipkart.com, okay, now the applications wherever you are using internet and a browser to access it, those kinds of applications are called as web-based application. Now Python can be easily used to create those web-based application. On top of it, web-based application development using Python is much more faster than any other programming language. Now, Python provides some frameworks like Django, Flask, Seed, Bouquet, okay, and Bottle. These are different frameworks which are provided by Python. And if you're using those frameworks, you can easily do web-based applications through Python in a much easier and much faster way. In fact, the web-based application development these days, people prefer more with Python, Django, and Flask because it is much faster than any other technology which is available right now into the market. The third kind of application which can be created using Python is a database application. Now, what is a database application? Any application where you can store the data into an RDBMS like structure, that is called as a database application. Now, if you have heard about like a DB2, which is from IBM, now the recently the newest version of like DB2 is released by IBM and that is based on Python. Now what happens over here, majority of the applications where the database, now in database application you need to store the data, keep the data and retrieve the data whenever you need it. Now for this purpose the application should be able to handle the large amount of data. On top of it, the application should also be able to do fast processing, means as soon as you give a command it should be able to retrieve the data, as soon as you give a command it should be able to save the data. Now application processing should be very fast, and all these things are possible only with Python, and better with Python than any other programming language. That's why if you want to create any database applications where you want to store data, keep the data and retrieve the data whenever you need it, then you can use Python. The fourth kind of implementation where you can use Python is network programming. Network programming means whenever there are two kinds of network. One is LAN network, one is WAN network. Okay, now WAN network is a wider area network, and LAN network will be connected through cables. Now, majority of the wider area networks, now many and like client server networks and different kinds of networks, we will be using mainframes, we'll be using different kinds of connections, and for all kinds of network programmings and networkings, you will be using Python. Now, majority of the people who are working onto CCNA, they need to know Python. Many of the people who are working into different kinds of networking, especially people from electronics and communication background, okay, they will be using Python a lot because they are working into the network programming stuff and the networking stuff a lot. So Python also has a lot of implementations over there because of its speed, because of its accuracy, and because of its reliability in working with any kind of network. Next, developing games. Now you will be aware that these days we are finding many different kinds of video games, many kinds of PC games, many kinds of mobile app games, many kinds of PlayStation games. Now there are various gaming consoles which are available these days into the market. Now what happens over here? Whenever you are playing a very high end game, okay, I'm not talking about some small games, okay, even smaller games are possible using Python, but I'm talking about those complex games where graphics is very complex, where the movements are very complex, and it is very smooth. Some games which are very costly and require like lot of time to produce, and what I will tell you, those applications need a lot of speed, lot of accuracy, lot of reliability. They need smoothness into the process, and that can be provided by only two programming languages. The first one is C programming, and second one is your Python. Now, C programming does not provide you object oriented features. It is a procedure based programming language. But here Python is both procedure oriented as well as object oriented programming language, and hence it helps also into the gaming development, and you can develop very high end games, okay, using Python. Right now 80% of the games, okay, means the high end games which are like PlayStation games and all, they will be using Python to develop. And most of these games are developed, like suppose like there is a game called as 2K 2K19, okay, so that is the game for WWE and all. So those games are developed on Python, and these games are very high end games. They have different moves, different sequences, different things, different graphics features. All those things are implemented in Python. So Python gives lot of frameworks using which you can develop games, and you can develop very high end and sophisticated games. The next thing is data analysis applications. Now what is data analysis? Many times, suppose you are working as a CEO of any organization. Now your organization has sales, your organization has purchases, your organization has profits, loss. Your organization will also conduct surveys where I can get a new market, where I can raise up a new plant, or where I can increase my business. Now for all these kinds of things, you will have millions and billions of data. Now suppose you have millions of billions of unstructured data present with you, and you want to get some information out of the data. That is possible through data analysis. Now Python provides many kinds of libraries like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, using which you can create lot of data analysis applications. In fact, in our data science program, which happens after Python, there we teach people how to do a data analysis. Means suppose in your database, suppose you have 10 billion data. Out of this 10 billion data, how do you sequence it inside your program, and how do you make out some information, how you create charts. You can create charts out of it, you can create barcodes out of it, you can create graphs out of it, you can create you and you, even you can make a prediction out of it. Means in you can make a prediction, like suppose your sales in next 5 years as per this data will go high or will go low, and if you should make this investment or not. whether the share markets can go up high or down. Okay, so all these kinds of data analysis applications finds their way only using Python. Next is for machine learning. Now, many of you are interested into data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence and all. Okay, now I will tell you what is machine learning. Machine learning, if you can see this, there are two words, machine and learning. From these two words, you can understand that there is a machine which is learning something. Now, let me tell you, whenever we are creating any application can be created in two different ways. First is a programming based application. Second is a machine learning based application. A programming based application, you will give all the situations. Suppose if this happens, take this action. Second thing happens, second situation, take the second action. Third situation, take third action. Fourth situation, take fourth action. 100th situation, take 100th action. Done. But what happens over here if there is some situation which comes which you have not given inside your program? Then it will generate an exception in your programming based application. Now, what happens over here with a machine learning application? A machine learning application thinks like a human, grows like a child. Okay, what do I mean by this? A machine learning application thinks like a human, grows like a child. It means a machine learning application has learns with experiences. It learns with data. It has to be fed with lot of data so that seeing the data, it learns, understands the pattern, relearns, rewrites its code, again learns, again rewrites its code, again relearns and rewrites its code. And what happens over here? Based on the data, the machine will evolve itself and develop itself and will be able to analyze the situation. Now, what happens over here? Suppose it meets with a situation which it has never met before. Now, what it does? It does nothing. It fails. There also it fails. But what happens over here? Once it fails, it tries to find out why it failed and tries to learn how to implement it, how to overcome it. And then when the next time the same situation comes, it tries to overcome it. It may overcome it, it may not overcome it, but it understands with the inputs. It tries to hit and trial what things work and what things not work. And later when it finds what things it works, it simply evolves. So the machine learning gives a capacity for any application to evolve. Now, generally, whenever you are using YouTube, whenever you are using Twitter, whenever you are using Facebook, you might be seeing the contents which you are interested. Those contents will be popping up. Basically, we have seen, like, suppose you are using YouTube. Okay, that's a very good example because everybody uses it every day. Suppose you use your YouTube, your homepage and your friend's homepage, your dad's homepage and your mom's homepage will be different. Why? Because these are four different people and what they like is totally different. And the machine does what? And the machine tries to learn your behavior, tries to understand what you like, tries to understand what you dislike. It tries to give you all the videos and all the things what you like, in where you will be interested, where it tricks your emotion. And what happens over there? It wants you to keep more time into the application. So what happens over here? The machine is trying to learn the user, understand its behavior, and give the result which will keep the user more time into the application. And that's how machine learning works. Okay, so that's a very small example of machine learning. Machine learning is much bigger than this, much better than this. Okay, and implementing machine learning is not very complex. It's easy provided somebody is there, okay, who can teach you to do it properly. The third kind is for developing artificial intelligence application. Now, what happens over here? Using data analysis and machine learning and data science, we will be implementing AI. Now, what is an AI? An application which takes its own decision based on a situation is called as artificial intelligence. Now, I will tell you, recently, the army of Russia has created 172 tanks which are totally based on artificial intelligence. Means they just have to give the command and leave these tanks, they will automatically go and kill all the enemies. So uh, that's their fundamental way of working. Okay, and they will be working totally based on artificial intelligence. Inside those tanks, no human being is sitting over there and taking decisions. outside those tanks, even or even those tanks are not like handled on a remote basis, like nobody from remote they are controlling the tank, they are on their own. They see anything, okay, they try to find out whether it is an enemy or it is not an enemy. If it is an enemy, they kill. If it is not an enemy, they don't kill. Now this is how the artificial intelligence, okay, works, and it is finding its application into each and every field of human aspect, like from like selling of small things to defense and to the even to the like aeronautic sector. Right now, even right now, we were seeing some news yesterday that even for the research of medicines for COVID-19, COVID-19, people are using machine learning to predict the medicines or the combination of medicines which can be used. Now here we will tell you, okay, like recently, like two Indian medicines which came into picture into highlight, that like one was hydroxychloroquine and second was azithromycin, and like people were demanding it a lot. But then came another news that hydroxychloroquine cannot be like used by COVID-19 patient, and in some cases it is fatal to the patients. Now basically what happened, okay, they were trying to do some machine learning into it, and they got a wrong data. They got a wrong data. Like there were some medical research institute like Lancelet, okay, and one of the institutes again from UK, both are from UK. They got some wrong data from a guy, okay, who claimed to have like all the data of all the patients from different hospitals and different places. Okay, now what happened over here? Now what happened over here? Okay, these datas were found wrong. Okay, because of which again the WHO is telling that we will start a trial for hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin. Okay, and maybe it is not, okay, maybe it is not harmful, and maybe it is able to do the like to help cure the people. So right now also, okay, again they have started on to working with hydroxychloroquine, okay, which is the malarial drug, and one is azithromycin, which is the drugs for like lungs cure and all. So here data is very important. If you feed a wrong kind of data to your application or to your machine learning application, it will give you definitely a wrong result. So that is where we need to be very much worried about. But anything else, if you want to apply, like if you want to implement it, it can be definitely implemented using Python. Now third is IoT. IoT is these days very much getting popular. Okay, you might would have heard about something which is called as Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies. The currencies, okay, which don't exist, okay, in notes, like you cannot get Bitcoin as a coin. Okay, Bitcoin is like coin is not available. Okay, it's just an internet money. Okay, now what happens over here? Okay, this is a virtual money where you can buy bitcoins. The values of bitcoins might increase or might decrease based on the features and how these are implemented. These are implemented using IoT. Okay, these are now not only with IoT, it also has some machine learning and data science also implemented into it. Okay, so crypto and also blockchain implemented into it. So using blockchain, IoT, and machine machine learning, people are implementing Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And IoT, okay, is like captures all of these things. IoT stands for Internet of Things. Okay, and it has a huge implementations. Still lot of research is going on. Still lot of people are working for IoT and trying to develop IoT. Okay, and these are the fields where people should invest their career right now, because 10 years from right now, these fields will have a lot of people, and those people who start right now will have 10 years of experience after 10 years, and those people will be getting a huge amount of salary, will have a huge will have a very good career, and very will have a very good opportunity and place in their future life. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, now what are various features of Python? The first feature of Python is simple and easy to learn. What do I mean by this? If you try to learn any other programming language, okay, now basically if people start with like BCA, okay, or they go in try to learn something in their schools and colleges, okay, they try to learn something in B, the first programming language what any college or any school will teach is C programming. Now, the problem with C programming is C programming is very old. It was developed somewhere around 1970. So almost 50-year old, that is the programming language. On top of it, C is like C. Okay, what do I mean by this? It means C is very deep. Okay, C is as deep like a sea. Okay, on top of it, C is a very tough programming language, and it should not be the first programming language which you should understand. Now, most of the times when somebody tries to learn programming with a C programming language, they have a very bad experience, and 80% of the people think that that is their mistake, that they cannot learn the programming and they cannot do it. But when it comes to Python, the syntaxes which are used by Python are very easy. There are only 30 keywords which are present with Python, and on top of it, Python is basically created for those people who are not from programming field, or those who want to start into the programming. Basically those people who could not learn like any other programming language, or learning any programming language was very tough for them. Okay, they always chose Python in the future, in the past, all the time. So here Python is one of the simplest and easiest programming language to learn. Okay, and this is the best programming language, okay, where you can start making your career right now, because Python is finding its implementation everywhere. Next is freeware and open source. Two words are there: freeware and open source. What do I mean by freeware? Freeware means somewhere where you don't have to pay any money. Freeware. Okay, software which is free. Okay, so whenever you are using Python, you don't need to pay any money to any organization or to any institution for using Python. Okay, earlier Java was also free, but since last year, April 2019, Java has also been licensed. Okay, and the cost of like commercial, like for study purpose, Java is still free, but for commercial purpose, if you want to create an application and sell that application into the market, you might have to pay Java a huge amount of money. Okay, for one single subscription of the license for Java, there will be somewhere around like $1,200 or $1,500, not rupees. Okay, it is $1,200, somewhere around $1,200 per license. They will have to pay. Now, what are different features of Python? Okay, so first is like freeware. Second one is open source. Open source means what? Open source means the source code for Python is given to you. Now, you have the entire code which is used to create the programming language for Python. See, suppose, okay, I am creating Python. Okay, now Python is created on C++. Okay, you have to know this. Python is created on C++. Okay, so C++ is the base language using which people have created Python. Okay, C++ was created on C. C was created on another language B. B was created on A. Okay, and A was created on machine level algorithms. Okay, so here you can see the chain. Okay, so Python is a programming language which was created based on C++. Okay, still it is based on C++. So entire code, entire features, all the applications and like inbuilt functions, inbuilt libraries, everything in Python is created out of C++. Now, open source means the entire code using which the Python programming language is created, that code is available to everyone. Now, when everyone sees this code, they can use it. Not only it is available to everyone, you can take that code, modify that code, and you can create your own programming language, or you can do anything with that. Okay, so it is freely given to all. Okay, so you can take that Python. Okay, you don't have to pay any money for that. On top of it, the source code using which the Python was created, that is also available for everyone, and you can do anything with that. You want to take it, you want to change it, you want to modify it, you want to sell it. Okay, okay, as you by modifying it, you want to create another programming language and you want to sell it, you can do that, no problem with that. Third is it's a high level programming language. As I told you, there are three kinds of programming language. Okay, first is machine level language, which is in binaries, zeros and ones. Second is assembly level language, which use mnemonics like add, sub, and all. Okay, but okay, we are using something which is called as a high level programming language. The programming language by using which you can do complex kind of applications. Okay, you can segregate the features and files based on the modules. Functionalities can be segregated based on the modules. Okay, and module by module you can create the application, and complex and big applications which can be created using Python. So though that's why Python is a high level programming language. Next is platform independent. Now what do I mean by platform independent? Suppose you are working on Python, you created a code. Okay, you created a code based on, okay, a Windows based PC. Suppose your computer is a Windows based operating system. Now the program what you created on Windows based operating system, you take it using pen drive. Okay, you put it on another system, another system uses Mac operating system. Okay, the program which you created on Windows based operating system should work also into what? Mac operating system, should also work on Linux based operating system, should also work on Ubuntu based operating system, should also work on any platform, or in any machine, okay, which uses any kind of operating system. Everywhere it should be working. That is the meaning of platform independent. If you have created a program for Windows based system and that program runs only on Windows based system, then it is called as platform dependent. But Python is not platform dependent. Python is platform independent. That means the program which you create on Python can be run on Mac OS, can be run on Linux, can be run on any operating system available onto planet Earth. Third is portability. Okay, what do I mean by portability? Now suppose you are creating a project. Suppose you are a project manager. Okay, under you one project is getting created. You have kept all Java developers inside you in your team. Okay, now what happens over here? All Java based developers are there in your team. They are created application based on Java. Now there are 10 modules into the application. 5 modules are already ready out of 10. Out of 10 modules, 5 modules are ready. You have created it on Java. Now what happens over here? Now you realize customer is giving me new features. He is asking me to implement AI into my application. He is asking me to implement data science into my application. He is asking me to implement data analysis in my application. Now that is not possible with Java. Okay, or even if it is possible, that is very tough to implement. Now what happens over here? It is easy with Python. Now suppose when you have already created 5 modules with Java and you want to implement data science, you want to implement AI, okay, which is possible with Python. Now what happens over here? Okay, the project manager will not start from the beginning. He will not start creating a new module, okay, again with Python starting, because it will lead to a lot of rework. Now using Python, what you do, okay, now the project manager will do what? Okay, and this is basically happening right now into IT industry. They're firing all Java developers. Okay, they're firing all Java developers, hiring Python developers. Okay, now 5 modules are already ready, no problem. Create the 6th module in Python, 7th module in Python, 8th module in Python, 9th module in Python. Implement AI, machine learning, data science, and all those modules will be integrated with the Java based modules. So Java, in one application you have Java based modules also, you have Python based modules also. Okay, and the Python based modules will be working very properly with the Java based modules. And this, my dear, is called as portability. Portability means the modules which you create on Python will be able to work with Java, will be able to work with C programming language, will be able to work with Ruby programming languages, will be able to work with any other kind of programming languages on planet Earth. So any programming language is present over there, that programming language can be integrated with Python easily. Okay, suppose you have created few modules in Java or C or .NET or C Sharp or any programming language. Next module, you in the same application. I'm not talking about different applications. Same application you want to create on Python, easily it is possible. Okay, and the modules what you create on Python and the modules what you created on any other programming language can be integrated also. Integrated means data flow can happen over there. Okay, and features can be integrated with each other. Okay, and we can use all of them together with entirely no problem. That is the meaning of portability, and this is only possible with Python, and that has created a huge critical condition into Python, into the job economy right now, into the market, because it is easy for the project manager to fire the person, okay, or to fire the developer who is working on any other programming language, and to hire Python based developer in place of it, because the application will work very fine, no problem is with it. So as soon as the modular feature is ready, okay, next module I want to implement in the Python, I will throw my Java developer, I will hire a new Python developer, and he will start working on this on the other modules, and the other modules and the older modules will be working very fine, no problem will be with that. The next thing is called as dynamically typed. Okay, what is meant by dynamically typed? Now, suppose if you have done any other programming language like Java, C, C++, okay, or any programming language. Okay, suppose you want to create an integer like variable. Okay, you will write like int a is equal to 10. Okay, I will show you when we will install this. Okay, this I will show you today. Okay, so suppose you like int a is equal to 10, float b is equal to 20.5. Okay, then you can write like boolean c is equal to true. Okay, now what happens over here? Okay, here I am mentioning the data type. Int is my data type, variable name equal to value. This is how we are creating the data inside any programming language. First comes declaration. Okay, declaration will be like data type and the variable name I will write. Okay, but in Python we don't need to mention the data type for any variable. What do I mean by this? Suppose I create one variable, okay, which should contain an integer like value. I will directly write a is equal to 10. I will not write int a is equal to 10. Suppose I want to, now the same value can also keep floating type of variable. I can write after that a is equal to 10.5 or a is equal to true and false, okay, which will be easily working. And the data type for Python, or the data type for any variable which is created on Python, is decided at the time of runtime. So that is the meaning of a dynamically typed. Here data type is not mentioned explicitly, but data type is like determined at the runtime by the Python virtual machine. Now third is both procedure oriented and object oriented. Okay, what is procedure oriented and what is object oriented? Now, any programming language like C is only procedure oriented. But if you see C++, Java, Python, they are also what? Object oriented. Now, what is the meaning of procedure oriented and what is the meaning of object oriented? Okay, if you have never done any kind of programming, okay, you might feel this little bit concept bizarre, but don't worry. When we will start programming, you will find it out very easily. Okay, now procedure oriented for now, understand whenever we are using like primitive data types. Primitive data types means integer, float, okay, and like boolean, string. These are primitive data type. Whenever you are using int, float, double, primitive like string, okay, character, these are primitive data type. That is called as procedure oriented programming language. Now suppose you want to create your own data type. Okay, you being a programmer, you want to define a data type by your own, and we want to create values of those data types. For example, you want to create a data type called as apple. Okay, that apple kind of data type will have, okay, like green apple, red apple, okay, like you can have Kashmiri apple, you can have Shimla apple. Okay, these are the values related to that data type. Now that comes, or that is possible only with object oriented, okay, programming. Okay, now here what happens, Python is a programming language which is both procedure oriented and object oriented. Means primitive data type like integers, float, boolean, okay, characters, string, these are all allowed to be created. Also, if you want to create a data type of your own, that is also available inside Python. Third is interpreted. Now, Python is a high level programming language, but when I'm using this Python inside my computer, the computer understands only machine level program. Means computer understands only things in which are in binary. Now what happens over here? Whenever we are using Python, okay, we have to use it. We have to use something which is called as interpreter. Now, what is an interpreter? Interpreter is a software which will convert high level program into machine level program which is in binary. Now, Python, what happens over here? Okay, Python uses interpreter to convert the entire high level program into binary, okay, which is a machine level program for the computer to be understood. Next is Python is extensible. Extensible means, okay, suppose you want to take, okay, Python based programming language source code and you want to implement Java features inside Python. Okay, so that is also possible. So we have different flavors like Jython, okay, or JPython, okay, where Java and Python features are made. Then there is C Python, okay, then there is Ruby Python, and different other things which are created based on Python. So you can take the source code of Python, okay, you can integrate Java features inside the Python features, and you can create a new programming language over here, okay, which can be called as JPython or like Ruby Python or C Python or C Sharp Python or Iron Python. The different things like that, okay, which can be created using what? Python. Okay, now the fourth in the last feature over here is called as embedded. Okay, now embedded means what? Understand, you have a fridge inside your home, you have a washing machine in your home. Now what happens over here? Okay, those washing machines, okay, those fridges will be using chips, circuits, processors. Now those processors have to be programmed to work in a certain way. They need to control the air temperature or the motion or different other functionalities and features. Now whenever we are, okay, trying to program a hardware, we will be using what? Processors into it, and those processors and chips will be programmed using Python. So even from embedded programming you can also use what? Python over here. Then there's extensive library. Extensive library means, okay, here Python provides lot of inbuilt features and functionalities to do data science, to do like development, to for gaming and everything. So there is a lot of library and inbuilt functions present to do it. So in our course we'll be seeing all of them. After this, okay, what are flavors of Python? Okay, flavors of Python means there is something called as C Python. C Python means we have, okay, we have taken the Python source code and we have implemented C features into it, and then that makes it a C Python. Similarly, we have Jython or JPython. Now JPython, if you can understand, there is some Java features included with Python programming languages, so that is called as what? JPython. Then there is something which is called as Iron Python. There are some programming languages, okay, like C sharp and all, okay, which can be included over here. Okay, now generally Iron Python is C sharp and Python mixed together, so that is called as Iron Python. Then there is PyPy. Okay, now the PyPy, what happens over here? Okay, here there is a compiler. Okay, now Python already has a interpreter embedded into it. Okay, now here in PyPy, what happens? There is a just-in-time compiler. Now just-in-time compiler is used in Java. The entire just-in-time compiler, when it is embedded with the Python interpreter, it gives to a new programming language which is called as PyPy. Okay, so PyPy is one of the another things which can be created using Python. There's another called as Ruby Python. This is easy. Ruby programming language features are implemented with Python programming languages. Okay, that is called as Ruby Python. Then there is Anaconda Python. Okay, now Anaconda Python is something which is used for like high data volume processing. Okay, now I will now here what we will be using over here. Okay, now generally what happens? Okay, most of the people will be either going with for like data science and all this stuff. Okay, so whenever people are going for data science and all this stuff or machine learning, all this stuff, generally learning with Anaconda Python is very good. So here also in our course we will be using Anaconda Python. Okay, so we will be showing you how to install Anaconda over here, and you don't have to install Python from backwards. And if you have installed, there is no problem, directly install Anaconda, just follow the steps, it will be easy. So we'll be using over here Anaconda Python over here. Okay, now what are Python versions? This is very important. Now, as I told you, the first version of Python, okay, was released into 1994. Okay, now generally in 1991 it was 0.9. Okay, but the first version was came into January 1994. The second version was in 2000, and there is a third version which was created on December 2008. Right now we are all using Python 3, and let me tell you, Python 3, Python 2, and Python 1 are not same. Okay, are not same means they are much different from each other. Now when the third version of Python came, okay, that will be like totally different from Python 2 and Python 1. Even the syntaxes of the code is also different. I'm so sorry. Now even the code of something is different. Now on top of it, the code of Python 2 will not work on Python 3, and even the code of Python 3 will not work on Python 2. So that is the these are the versions which are for Python. Now